Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend / my co-host, Devin. And today we're here to break down episode 3 of the MCU series, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Episode 3, titled The People vs. Emil Blonsky. And before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, it feels like we haven't talked in forever. It's, there's so many TV shows going on right now. But how have you been, man? What have you been watching?
We're getting to a point where there's going to be too many shows at once because of just all these releases coming out all at the same time.
Yeah, I do agree with you there, man. It's super crazy because, right now we have She-Hulk, which we're, of course, covering today. House of the Dragons, that's out. By the time this is out, Lord of the Rings will start. And later on in September, we have Andor. And we also have Abbott Elementary, season 2.
Rick and Morty starts this Sunday.
That's, dude, like I said before, it is such a golden age for television. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. But we are a little pressed for time here today, ladies and gentlemen. Can't stick around too long. So we're going to just get straight into our She-Hulk Attorney at Law review. That's for episode 3. So Devin, are you ready to jump on in?
Oh, yeah. Breaking out. We're on parole.
It's time to Hulk out. Break out with Wong. Go on a little mini vacation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this introduction to She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, episode 3.
You said to my face that you never turn into the Abomination anymore.
No, I said I choose not to. These were extenuating circumstances.
You understand that this constitutes another crime and totally destroys your chances at parole?
What? No, because I was forced to leave my cell, but I returned of my own free will.
Who forced you to escape this insanely high-security prison undetected?
A sorcerer supreme of the mystic arts, and his name is...
Wong, just Wong, and his internet presence is a little chaotic. He's either a sorcerer who lives in New York or a librarian who lives in Nepal.
Can you get to him?
Yes, Jen, it's me. Of course I can get to him. I sent a thirst trap. It was a picture of me with a bunch of books.
Let's just hope that he calls back. If Blonsky's telling the truth, this guy busted him out of his prison cell and probably ruined my entire case.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with our She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 3 review. Again, this is titled The People vs. Emil Blonsky. The way this is going to go down for you guys, we're going to give our initial reactions for you guys. We're going to get to a little bit of spoilers if we have the time. We're going to talk about some nice little post-credit scene action, and then we'll just give our final thoughts. Again, we're not giving our review for each episode. We are waiting for that series finale, or season finale, I should say, but it might be series finale since a lot of these MCU shows are one-offs. But I'm going to pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions to episode 3 of She-Hulk.
Yeah, I think this was another great entry here. The laughs keep on coming. You can definitely just tell that the writing staff is going all in on the humor here and really trying to nail that down. And it's definitely working so far. Very entertaining episode. A lot of people are saying the best so far, and I think I might have to agree. It seems to be hitting its stride, starting at this episode number 3. And it seems like moving forward, could kind of be like the feeling and the setting of what the show is moving forward. The law, just taking different clients, just going forward and having fun with it. It's what the show is, and it's a great time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And especially with this episode, we keep getting those fourth wall breaks as far as my initial reactions goes. And it just continues to amaze me how much fun they're having with these series. Especially with She-Hulk. I know, there's just a lot of people who aren't really vibing with it, and that's okay. Not every single MCU show or every TV show or every episode of a certain show is going to be your cup of tea. I do agree with Devin when it comes to, just having fun and this is probably the best episode we've gotten because we actually got to see Jennifer Walters in her element when it came to, her being this high priority lawyer. And we kind of got actually two court cases this episode, one more on the serious note with Jennifer Walters and Emil Blonsky, and then her co-worker with the shape-shifting as guardian. So I thought that was
so good. That
was hilarious. Like it was just it was a pinnacle. Definitely a few nice little cameos here and there. Marvel loves her cameos, but I there was a specific scene where she's like, "Hey, there's all these cameos, but like, let's not forget whose show this actually is."
Yeah, she's just listing off like, okay, fine, we had Bruce. Okay, yeah, we also had Wong. Yeah, that's right, we have Abomination, but it's my show.
Yeah. Like, I love how she actually went through that. And there's a lot of, just within this episode, there's just a lot of things that, it goes back to the whole, art imitates life because, man, oh man, did they hit a lot of things on the nose here, especially with the social media engagement portion of this episode. But yeah, overall, I think it's just a great show. We really get to see, Jennifer Walters in her element, like I said before. And it just has that shine. Like it has that subtle comedic effect to it. It's not like, oh my gosh, can you believe what they just said? This is so funny. But I made a few chuckles here or there. It's not the laugh track sitcom, but it's something different. It feels like a serialized show. And it feels like we're going to get more cases with Jennifer Walters as the show goes on, because this is kind of her facing her the trials and tribulations of just her being a woman in this work environment and what that looks like.
And that's all I wanted from this series. Like you get cases for her to go through with different weird, crazy MCU elements, and it's lighthearted, and it's just she breaks the fourth wall, and it's all about pop culture, and that's just what the character is.
It's, not every MCU show needs to have, trauma behind their character and, what defines them. Like this is like I said before, she said, this is a fun lawyer show, like a superhero lawyer show. Like that's all it is. Like we get a little bit of action towards the end. I thought somebody was going to pop up during that part, but I guess I was wrong, which is totally fine. But, I think it was a great episode overall. But Devin, are you ready to get into our spoiler section? Or spoiler
there's
section?
not much to spoiler, just kind of one major cameo that was already spoiled during the week from many publications.
And did Marvel spoil it themselves, or was that because Marvel has spoiled things themselves?
It was definitely the publications first. Like,
okay, yeah, and that is the one thing. We've seen Marvel kind of like They kind of tell us some of the cameos beforehand, and I kind of talked about that in one of the previous She-Hulk episodes. I think it was episode 2, but really quick before I say anything else. That is your first spoiler warning for She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 3, again. That is your second spoiler warning for She-Hulk, episode 3. So if you haven't seen it, turn back now. But yeah, the Megan Thee Stallion thing kind of just like surfaced, and I was like, well, now, it's not that it put a damper on the episode because I thought her scenes were really great. It's just, it would have been nice to not know, because I've seen a lot of like verified Twitter accounts out there, especially for Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or the new movie that's coming up, or Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. Like, they were just like, oh, like so-and-so is going to make an appearance. X, Y, and Z Spider-Man's going to be. I'm like, can we can we stop? Like, you're taking literally all the fun out of seeing this movie. Like, I just want to go watch it, be surprised, and talk about it after. Is that too much to ask for?
Quite the surprise this was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought she did a great job. You know, it's usually I have like an issue with like musical talent being in shows, but hey, I mean, Ed Sheeran came into Game of Thrones and he killed it. He was only on screen for like maybe 20 seconds.
I guess we should actually mention who it is. Megan Thee Stallion as Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
I expected her to be some kind of random character. I didn't expect her to be playing herself, but I think that worked out great.
I think it did because it's, I mean, much like, you know, I mean, Star Wars is a thing within the MCU, as we learned with Miss Marvel, as it being a pop culture type of deal. So it makes sense that we would have, you know, real world celebrities, like real world Grammy winning artists in this world as well. So it's kind of a blend. So it's meant to mirror our own world. And I think that's great. Have yet to see an iPhone pop up, but I mean, it is what it is. They use those like generic phones, but with iPhone, it's different. Did you read that article? What Ryan Johnson had said about iPhones being in like the film industry? Like,
you have to pay for the rights.
Well, not only that, but he was saying that only only good characters, as in like the non-bad characters, can use Apple products. It was very weird, but I'll have to send it to you. But I'm like not even joking.
So Dennis Pukowski cannot have an iPhone from this series.
I mean, he was. That was the paralegal, right? Where he had the shape-shifting Asgardian.
Yeah, he got fooled into thinking Megan Thee Stallion was interested in him.
I don't think he's like necessarily like an evil character, but he really is something else. He's definitely the guy who went through law school just to get like all the, you know, all the ladies.
Perhaps one of my favorite fourth wall breaks we've gotten so far is when I actually didn't know this character's name, but his name is Pug apparently. Pug and Nikki interact at the bar, and then she goes, "A and B plot lines connecting." Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Pug comes up. He's like, I cannot stand that guy. That was great. Yeah. I really like how they're able to do these subtle, and they're not like in your face, like wall breaks. Like, I mean, they are, but they aren't, because some of them feel very subtle. Like obviously the one when Jen's in the car and she's like, hey, you know, like this isn't one of those like cameo, whatever shows, even though, yeah, like you're going to have cameos within a Marvel cinematic property at this point, because it's like, it's kind of hard not to, unless they're, I don't know. I guess this depends on where it takes place within the MCU timeline. Like having Wong there makes total sense, because we did see him fight with Abomination during Shang-Chi. So yeah, you know, it makes sense for the most part. But did you have anything else you wanted to mention before we skedaddle out of here?
I mean, the post-credit scene had a bit of a Twitter meltdown here. Just people not knowing what to do with twerking She-Hulk.
Twerking Megan Thee Stallion and twerking She-Hulk just all together. People were losing their minds. I remember when Mama's Geeky, I think she's watched the first 4 episodes so far. During her reaction, she said, yeah, this is definitely not like a kids like MCU show, which obviously this is more for adults. You know, we see at some point, you know, Jennifer Walters does go on to the Tinder and the Hinge and all that stuff. So this feels very adult. It feels like an adult comedy show, but it's not like super raunchy, because I don't think it needs to be super raunchy. Like, yeah, you're going to have adult themes. Like, obviously, like you just said, Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk, aka Jennifer Walters, were twerking. And it's like, it's just like lighthearted, like adult fun. Like they're not going to go super deep with it. I don't think they could if they even wanted to. But yeah, it's all good fun. And that's all I can really ask from this show.
And I also wanted to add that anytime Wong is in anything, it just gets better. Like Wong's just the best. Like he's never failed. When is he on the screen and you're like, oh, it's Wong again. No, you're excited because it's Wong.
Him being in this episode really played to like his comedic strengths.
And it wasn't just a cameo just to be a cameo. It all tied together back to Shang-Chi.
Right. Like it wasn't just, oh, look who it is. Like I am very curious. I mean, we already know that a certain character pops up. I don't want to say anything until it actually happens, but I'm curious to see how they're going to incorporate that character into this because again, it's something we already know. So now we're just waiting for it instead of.
Yeah, I mean, it just all the cameos that we know of so far are ones that just they all make sense. None of them are being forced onto the show to try to bring views or something.
It's not like Spider-Man is just gonna, Peter Parker's gonna randomly show up and like, look, you got to watch the show. Peter makes an appearance at some point. Or, I mean, kind of how they did with Hawkeye, but they had told us ages ago that Yelena was going to be in Hawkeye. I wish kind of would have got that at secret because, I mean, clearly that was one of the big takeaways from that show. But yeah, overall, I'm just, as far as my final thoughts goes, I'm enjoying the ride, like it's been great so far. We don't have that FOMO, not FOMO, but fear of, oh, like we're hitting the halfway mark, like if this is a normal Disney show, we would only have 3 more episodes left, but we have 6 more episodes left. And I think that was a right decision for this type of show, to give, these characters room to breathe a little bit. Granted, these episodes are around like 30 to 35 minutes, but heck, man, I'm not complaining, to be completely honest. I wish sometimes some shows would go the 30 to 35 minute mark. I've been watching Cobra Kai and I'm like, wow, it still works. You can go like maybe 35, maybe 40 minutes pushing it, but depending on how popular the show is, I don't know. It just depends on how everything's edited. But yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying She-Hulk, and I think episode 3 is hits the mark for me.
Yeah, it really got the job done for me. Couple laughs here and there, and I like how they're setting up the formula for things moving forward for this show. Just we know what to expect. It's just gonna be a fun lawyer show, and also some theory time. The Thunderbolts are starting to shape up real nicely now that Abomination is free. It's all coming together.
Theory time. Heavy spoilers. Makes great videos. Yeah. But yeah, for the Thunderbolts, yeah, that is true. He is, Blonsky is free after that nice little trial that they had. But yeah, overall, just a great episode. So that pretty much concludes our review of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, episode 3. Again, it's streaming on Disney Plus. So if you haven't caught up, haven't watched episode 1, 2, or 3, you can breeze through them so easily. Doesn't require a lot of attention to detail. I mean, there can be if you want there to be, like if you're purposely looking for Easter eggs, but overall, yeah, just go watch it. It's a grand old time. And really quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you've liked what you heard on today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice and make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And really quick, what's coming up? We got some Hot D, aka House of the Dragon, episode 3, baby, coming up. We're going to be dropping that on September 2nd, along with this. So we're actually going to have a double feature Friday for you guys. Because yeah, it's been kind of crazy on our side, but we're covering these 2 shows. Feels like we've kind of put movies on the back burner, but honestly, there's just so much coming out right now, and we can't cover everything, unfortunately, but we try to cover something for you guys. So definitely check out our House of the Dragon episode 1 and 2 that are out on the podcast. So those are spoiler free. And episode 3 moving onward for House of the Dragon will also be spoiler free. And you can take a crack at our Orphan First Kill review that is out, and our Avatar The Last Airbender Book 2 Earth series revisited. I was joined by a few amazing guests for that episode. So that is also available on podcast platforms around the internet. So With all that said, we hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you guys next time. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.